Now we're live.
For those of us unclear, that means that we're broadcasting now. It means it's a live
Yes.
stream.
I'm not sure the internet needs that explanation.
It's true.
Some,
Well, the group might.
some of our players do. All right, so here we are for Houston Escape Clause 1.5. The party is finally together. Maybe that should be tonight's episode title.
Subtitle: The Beginning.
The beginning.
Of the end? Question mark.
In previous weeks, we had the party had been completely separated every which way to Sunday. Travis Kane was over at the Red Door, where a group of Red Court vampires tried to court him to become their bodyguard of Baron Ricky, the Thane of the Second Ward. And his meeting was interrupted by the influx of a bunch of feral hogs into the Red Door, and a hog man who came in and tried to attack everyone. And it was also interrupted by Jeremiah Gideon, who came and tried to convince Travis to come and join him in rescuing the rest of the party over at the museum, where everyone was being attacked by lions and toadmen and black court vampires.
Oh my.
Oh my. And Kit and Sela got into a bit of a competition trying to steal a seed artifact from the museum, and Sela is actually the one who got her hands on it.
But she gave it to me and I won.
Yeah, technically Kit ended up winning because after he started to fall through the ceiling, Sela, on Gideon's behest, who had arrived at the museum and told him to save Kit, Sela kept him from falling to his death and had to hand the seed artifact over to him as they made a hasty exit amidst all of the battling going on in the foyer, under the watchful eye of Sarah Rosevides, the CEO of Nyxtra and the original owner of the seed artifact. Travis Kane had a bit more of a tussle there in the front of the museum with a toad man, and he almost got swallowed, but was able to extricate himself and join everyone else inside of Jeremiah's Lincoln Continental. It's what year's the car?
I believe it's a 70s. Let me double check here.
All black interior, exterior.
Which is
Lincoln.
perfect for, absolutely perfect for
the climate in Houston.
Yeah, the climate in Houston. 1970 four-door Lincoln Continental.
1970 four-door Lincoln Continental. Everybody's piled in. Jeremiah has peeled out from the museum, leaving the big ruckus going on back there, and he is now on the streets of Houston. He's driving his car. Sela is in the front seat passenger side, and Kit is in the back, and he's currently holding Sela's duffel bag with the seed in it. He's been a little bit hazy and woozy from passing out from a giant mosquito that sucked out a lot of his blood. And Travis is in the back seat with him, covered in frog saliva. Travis, not the back seat.
Well, back seat now.
Well, yeah, now the back seat is covered with frog saliva.
So Kit's going to kind of woozily take his finger and just slowly and awkwardly lean over to Travis and just poke and press into the cheek. Oh, good. You're real. I've been on the weirdest drug trip all night. I don't know what the collector slipped me or when, but I've been seeing lions and people made of frogs. It's been a weird night. Who are all these people?
I'd like to slowly and just as awkwardly reach over and wipe some of my frog slime onto Kit's face and say, "It's all real. You're not doing drugs."
What do you mean?
All of this goo, dude, it's from a real frogman, or what's left of him.
real frogmen? There's no such thing.
I'm gonna let that one slide because you were knocked out. But yeah, no, there's totally real frogmen, dude.
I must be tripping. Are you? And he reaches over and pokes you in the cheek again. Are you really here? I mean, there's this lady who just like disappeared.
You think that's weird? Just wait till we get where we're going.
What? Where are you? Who are you?
You can call me Gideon. We're currently on our way to a place called the Midnight Oil.
Midnight Oil. I don't think the collector owns anything called the Midnight Oil. What's he paying you to kidnap me?
Not
At this point, I start
Kit checks the doors, by the way.
flipping slime out of my hair toward Kit to try to distract him.
Ah! Stop that. What'd you do? Fall in a fountain?
Yes, a fountain made of nasty, gross frog goo because frogmen are real.
Like you fell on frogs?
Sure. Very, very big ones.
Kit recognizes that he's holding this duffel bag in his seat, and he kind of opens it up and sees the seed artifact inside and closes it really quickly. Oh,
All right, Kit. When you're looking at that artifact, did you want to take a closer look at it?
sure.
So you open up the bag and you look. It's roughly the size of maybe a person's head, and it's got some etchings on the inside. It's got some art. It's shaped like a teardrop with a hole in both, but without a point on the one end. It's got a hole at the top and at the bottom.
Okay.
So it doesn't come to a very sharp point, but it does sort of taper down, and it has a hole, and then down at the bottom where it bowls out, it has another hole in the center of that, and it has in the top it's like where at the narrow portion, it has a bunch of wavy lines like it's like some clouds or something, and then there's raindrops and streaks that are falling down from that onto upward staring people who have their hands up in the air, kind of like they're exulting in the rain, and they're standing in sort of a field of grass or something, and that's the picture that you can see, and it's various people. It's an older. You can tell it's more ancient art form than modern looking stuff.
Just the kind of artifact the collector tries to take from me. All right. Do I need to roll a lore to know anything about this? I can't remember if I did that already.
You can roll a lore check.
Okay.
Since I'm right next to Kit, can I also roll a lore check? Since I assume I can see something next to him.
Yeah, you guys can both roll a lore check.
I got a +1.
So did I, actually.
All right. So Chris, the Travis, what you realized from your lore check is this was something that this artifact was something that the cult leader that had kidnapped you before used in order to power things. Kit, what you know from your lore check in the artifact is that it's a fertility artifact, and the collector was going to use it in her fertility exhibition, in his fertility exhibition.
The collector's a woman? Did I know that before?
That's what I heard.
No, I misspoke. I apologize. I was thinking of. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us. We are.
Oh,
we
look,
are
it's okay.
Super subtle.
I'm sorry. I was late. I just got back from work. I've been stuck there.
Yeah, I think I saw something where you were stuck in like traffic and things.
Oh yeah,
and
my car died today forever. So
I apologize. We are actually, the PCs are all currently in Gideon's car, and that's where we're at. Gideon is driving.
It's still functioning.
Kit, you are in the passenger seat, Sela. Kit is in the back seat behind you, and he is currently looking inside the duffel bag at the artifact. It is shaped in sort of a teardrop shape. It has a hole in the bowl at the bottom in the center. It has a hole in the top rather than an actual point. There is sort of wavy lines and things at the narrow section that kind of look like clouds, and there's streaks falling down to people with their hands up, and they're kind of staring up in the sky, catching rain on their tongues, exulting in the rain as they're standing in a field.
Okay.
A moment of awkward silence descends upon the car.
Oh, has anything happened yet or did I just kind of come into it?
Nope, nothing else has happened yet. We've just recapped.
Nothing important. Travis and I have been bickering.
What else is new? To which I add, where in the world did you get that?
I beat him. I beat the collector finally for once. I'm not really sure how, because this drug trip has been really trippy, but I beat him. I have it. This is so great. You can drop me off at the next bus stop.
I think...
Can I second that vote?
What?
I second that vote.
Actually, Gideon, I really think that we need to go back to your place and, look at this thing together, because I think that you probably know stuff about it anyways. It seems important.
That's not a bad idea, but it's actually probably best if we head towards the Midnight Oil.
Wait, all right.
Sure.
You guys want my artifact?
Your artifact?
Yeah, I have it here sitting in my lap.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working for the collector too? Are you trying to take this from me? You really can't drop me off at the next stop.
Mr. Rhodes,
just let me out.
we're not with the collector, and you need to come with us. It's all going to become pretty clear.
That's not ominous.
So Sela pushes the lock button for make all the doors automatically lock, just subtly, just click.
And it's a 1970s car, so it goes kerchunk.
Yeah.
All right.
That might be more ominous.
That might be more ominous.
No, guys, you don't understand. I've seen this before. This is bad news. We don't want to be holding on to this.
What is it?
I admit I haven't used this personally myself, but I've seen this in action. This is used to power some very, very, very not good magic.
Magic? You're 16. How do you believe in magic?
Hey, I am 17.
My apologies. I'm sure there's a scientifically reasonable explanation for what you saw with this, whenever it was, if you really are even here. And he pokes him in the cheek again. But I don't think we have anything to worry about.
Sela just starts humming "Do you believe in magic?"
Can I place my hand over and touch Kit and just let a little energy into him, just zap him with a little bit of energy?
Warm him up a bit.
I don't think that's a thing. What kind of zap him with energy?
I feel like it is a thing. I admit my memory's a bit shaky on the books, but I feel like it is a thing.
Are you trying to shock him with static electricity?
That's all he'll think it is, but
I'm trying to remember if it's not one of the Dresden books. I'm trying to remember what book it's in that I'm remembering this from.
Admittedly, it's now at this point been a while since I read through the whole series, but I don't remember anything like that.
I think he's probably just trying to impress upon him the idea that magic might be real.
And for the most part, Harry never tries to do anything like that. He never tries to make someone, if they're not going to believe, they're not going to believe. So I can't imagine him doing it.
Yeah, people.
It must be a different book I'm remembering then.
Maybe it was Harry Potter.
Unlikely. Oh, can I? Can I? If I'm. Ignore me. Someone else go on. I'm trying to think of something.
So how far away are we from the Midnight Oil?
Who said we're going to the Midnight Oil? Why are you guys?
Y'all are about 15 minutes away.
Awesome.
Well, partly, what is the Midnight Oil? I don't even know what the Midnight Oil is. Where are you taking us, old man?
What is it? It's a. I mean, out of character. It's a.
It's a bar.
It's a coffee shop.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Coffee shop.
Well, it's really kind of more of a tea house than a coffee shop. Tea and sandwiches.
Wait, has Kid been there before? Did we? I'm sorry, it's been a long time. I remember we established that place before, but I couldn't remember if it was established with Kit's knowledge or not.
We created it before. Whether or not Kit's been there is your call.
Okay.
If he has been there, it has books all over the place. That's one of its defining features. It's wall-to-wall books. It's
Well,
also
then I'll just go
unusual.
the direction I already went instead of having to retcon anything. Don't recognize it by name, at least. We can change anything later if we need to.
Sure. So y'all have a little bit more of a car ride to get there.
I guess I just explained that the Midnight Oil is a place for.
It's a hangout spot.
Yeah, it's a hangout spot for certain groups of people. People who are in situations like we seem to find ourselves in.
So
Kidnapped by some people I don't recognize while I'm tripping on drugs? Are you guys the CIA?
Do you have any memory of taking drugs? Where did you get these drugs?
I don't. The collector is everywhere. All right.
The
I don't know.
I mean,
Messes. He could have messed with the bottle of water or any of the hors d'oeuvres. I don't know. All I know is that after we got to the museum, weird things started happening that have zero explanation. Why are there lions? Why are there people that look like frogs? Why are people flying through windows?
the kit of the bad roads. Why are you collecting this artifact?
Because the collector wants them. He's
So
evil.
you just take things simply because someone you don't like wants them?
No, he does bad things with these.
And
What
what
sort
do
of
you,
bad things?
and what do you do with them?
I take them to my dad.
Oh, that sounds great. Take them to your dad. Yeah, that's logical. That sounds really safe. Who is your dad?
They
My
belong
dad's
in a
an
museum.
archaeology professor who's been studying these things for years. It's his fault the collector had him chasing after artifacts and he lost his eyesight. One of these has got to put it back. And that's what I do. That's what I go after and find. So
That's what you want.
So you're searching for an artifact that will restore eyesight, but you don't believe in magic.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
there's a perfectly
Once
reasonable
we agree on-
scientific explanation. I just don't understand it.
You're just
Any
obsessed.
technology significantly advanced is just magic. Looks
You're
like
holding a stone, dude. How
Yeah.
is this sufficiently advanced technology?
I don't know what's in
Maybe
it.
you are taking drugs.
Did you give them to me? Is this your fault?
Yes, because we totally have been hanging out at the museum.
It was like an hour ago we dropped you off at a club. How are you here right now?
I picked him up.
You picked him up? Travis, who is this guy?
It's the old man who picked me up at the club. What's it sound like?
What do you know about him? Did we vote to go to the Midnight Oil? All I know is I'm locked in the back seat of a car right now with no choice on where I'm going.
Mr. Rhodes, if you will just calm down, I promise you everything will be explained.
This seems like a perfect time to explain. Kit tries
Yeah.
to door again. It's locked.
If I had the information, I would explain it, but I think it's best left to.
What? Who are you taking me to?
So Gideon hasn't even had the opportunity to look at the thing, and he needs to look at it in order to tell us what it is and what needs to be done with it.
Now, I don't mean to be rude because you seem to at least have more sense than this fella next to me, but who are you?
I'm Sela.
I
Do you
take a
currently
pause,
look like Sela?
but
Are you still the barista?
No, I look like Sela.
Okay.
What does Sela look like?
Sela is a slight woman who appears to be somewhere between 25 and 45. There's something about her face, the curve of her lips or a delicate bone structure. It's really hard to pin down, but it gives her kind of a foreign, almost otherworldly appearance. Foreign, definitely. She has straight, waist-length blue-black hair, which has a weird shimmer to it, combined with her porcelain skin, large, dark eyes, and she's head to toe in black clothing and these big, like, knee-high boots, stilettos. She kind of looks really goth.
Is Travis into goths?
Travis, I don't think is terribly even aware of goths. He's not exactly been in society all that much.
Yeah, but goths they have a look, and I think you almost immediately appreciate or don't appreciate the look. And what's Travis's reaction?
Well, Travis's reaction, I mean, there's a lot of sense to wearing black, depending on what you're trying to do. Of course, to be fair, I also have a lot of history of people who wear black who I am less than fond of. So
She's wearing a cat suit with a large zipper in the front, undone, but not too much.
now,
It looks slutty.
simply because Travis might be a little bit more literal. When you say a cat suit, do you mean like a Mission Impossible suit or like a cat?
No, not with ears.
With like ears and
No, not today anyway.
Is there a nice little tail to go with it? You know, you can swing it around.
No, she's wearing like a skin tight black cat suit. She's very slight, kind of tall, but a little bit. She's athletic, but not bulky at all.
Lithe like a cat.
Lithe, like she's an acrobat for a living.
So I'm sorry though. You say you're Sela, like that explains things. Can you maybe be a bit more specific?
You say you're Travis, like that explains things.
You haven't asked
Wait,
me
you guys
anything.
don't know
What do you
each
want me
other
to explain?
Do any of us know anyone?
Gideon is my very good friend.
Well, that's
You're with
good.
him. And I've seen neither of you ever before. So why should... Can we pull over and talk about this?
We're
I
talking
feel like I'm
We're
going
talking
somewhere
about
I
it
don't
right
want to be
now.
going.
We're talking about it right now, and in terms of knowing things, these two seem to know a lot more than you do. So maybe, eyes and mouth in proportion.
Mr. Rhodes, there are events in motion that are far bigger than you or even the collector.
So you guys are the CIA. Okay.
Unfortunately,
what country do you need to
we
write
find
this
that you are at the you find yourself at the center of these events, and you need to come with me so we can get these explained.
Gideon is never the best at introductions, but
I would love introductions.
yeah. One moment while I think. Kit, I feel like we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
I'm not sure we got off on any foot. I just woke up here and kind of found you in the car.
Well, you're really hostile for being not on any foot.
Kidnapped? I
Kidnapped? With
You weren't kidnapped. You were rescued.
Oh, yeah, there was that. Did you remember anything about falling off of a building and not dying? I did that.
There was a part of
You threw him off the
drug
building?
trip that was I flew, and then I landed on like a really comfortable flower. Anyway, it's been a weird night.
Did you find it perhaps kind of draining?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not feeling great right now. What did you guys give me?
Mr. Rose, has it ever occurred to you that when you decided to take on the Collector, you picked a fight that's way beyond you? And that maybe you've attracted the attention of some parties that are a little beyond you as well?
I don't know. I've done pretty well.
What have you done pretty well? Please tell us.
What do you mean?
You say you've done pretty well. How have you struck a mighty blow against the Collector? In what way are you doing pretty well?
I have the artifact he dangled in front of me. I won. Here, mighty blow in my lap.
Is this the first mighty blow you've managed to score?
That's neither here nor there. I have tracked him all over the world.
I have an idea.
He's everywhere.
I have an idea. We're all new friends here, so why don't we just do some icebreakers?
I don't like ice.
Then you should be good at breaking it. What do you do for a living, Travis?
Breaking a lot of things.
What do you do, Travis?
He's homeless.
I am a teenager, so I don't exactly have a job.
Big blink.
I recently escaped from a cult that was using me as manpower for forays into the Never Never against various fae.
Oh, well, she looks over at Gideon. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, what about you, the kit? I asked you earlier which roads.
Rhodes is my last name. Right.
Yes.
So, what do you mean which roads? I'm Kit Rhodes.
What do you do besides deal things badly?
What? Badly? I don't think anything's gone badly that I've ever been a part of.
Anything about tonight, so I would say that's bad.
Well, yeah, but the Collector,
and then you just
which I assume that you guys aren't working for, stayed out of his clutches again tonight. So that's.
But you got kidnapped.
So I am kidnapped.
No, you just said it that way, so I figured that was also probably bad from your perspective.
This is currently bad. This is not a situation I.
So what do you do?
Appreciate.
Normally, for fun.
I'm a freelance style person.
Grave robber and
what? No, I've never robbed any graves. I've certainly not what I would call it.
Merely liberated artifacts from their final resting place, or what should be their final resting place.
I have, on occasion, bent a few rules, but it's all in the name of trying to get my dad's eyesight back.
From a rob.
I'm surprised the Collector didn't tell you this when he hired you to kidnap me.
Have you tried a doctor?
The doctor said they can't do anything.
Maybe they're working for the Collector too.
And it was gone.
So, Gideon, neither of these people have jobs?
Not in the way that normal people have jobs, no.
I would like to remind you, I am a teenager.
Parents?
Teenager we found in the woods.
You found him in the woods?
Yeah, and he started following us around like a puppy.
Yes, that's exactly it. Kudos for accuracy.
That's how I remember it.
This guy, the guy who remembers the evening where he just walks into the museum and suddenly gets roofied and magically has an artifact that he managed to obtain.
Rose feces yelled at my face, and we had a little bit to drink, and then everything went all topsy-turvy. She's clearly working for the Collector. And at the moment, I'm hesitant to say that you are, because this is the weirdest kidnapping I've ever been a part of. But
do you frequently get kidnapped?
No comment.
Sela wants to, I don't know if this is like an empathy role or something, but she wants to kind of, it's probably rapport actually. She wants to kind of help things gel, you know? Like, hey, we're not working for the collector, definitely. You know, there's nothing to worry about. Why don't we just relax and talk things out? Once we get where we're going, we'll figure out what, there has to be a reason why Gideon has brought us all together. And surely that will become apparent soon. So she's just trying to like ease the tension and, you know, a little social lubricant here. What kind of would that be?
That would be a rapport roll.
Cool.
And Kit, if you want to defend against it, you also roll rapport.
Sure. Opposing it's fun, although I really don't want to win.
I don't think you will.
So rapport is its own skill. I'm not using my presence, right?
Right. Rapport is a separate skill. Kit has no rapport, so you're rolling at 0.
Use a fate point.
Hila got 3. I rolled a 2.
I got 1.
All right. So that's a 2 shift. 2 shifts good enough to create that sort of effect of an aspect on the scene. So Sela starts chatting about, she immediately sides with Kit that the collector's probably bad news for his sort of situation. And they're definitely not associated with the collector. And in fact, in many ways, she's working against the collector because she was assisting him with stealing the seed artifact. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have made it out of the museum with it. And she was hired.
Can I interrupt you real quick, Jared? Sorry. Knowledge that Kit has, he has no idea right now that Sheila, right? Sela was trying to steal the artifact.
No.
So I only mean to interrupt you in the sense of, as the GM, you're giving Kit more information, and I didn't know if that was how Sela wanted it to go down. Sorry to interrupt.
Sela?
Well, Kit would have definitely seen Sela as the barista, at least. Like, recognize, because he saw her change from the barista to her real form, and she would have looked at him if he like said anything weird about that. She would have just been like, "Wow, you really hit your head." Like, she's always looked like this all night, and if that's a deceit roll, she wants to make it.
Deceit roll to keep me from knowing that you were at the museum?
No, a deceit roll to make you doubt your own memory of what she looked like before. Like, to think that, so that she wants to implant the idea in your mind without, like, you know, doing anything weird, that, like, you hit your head, so you must have, like, to your eye, she looks like a different person. Like, you were confused that she changed her form, but, like, she's just going to be like, wow, you really hit your head. I've been with you for the past 20 minutes.
So throughout the conversation, it comes out that Sela was actually hired to steal that artifact from the collector. So in that sense, she's on the side. And when you remember that, wait, the person who actually had it and gave it to me was this blonde-headed barista, Sela's like, no, that must be the effects of the drugs. That was me the whole time.
Mm-hmm. I've been here the whole time.
Okay.
And about that time, you guys arrive at the Midnight Oil. It's a cozy little building in a bit of a half residential, half commercial kind of neighborhood. It's the through street here has a good mix of apartments and commercial buildings and just regular houses. And this one used to be a regular house, but the bottom half has been converted into a tea/sandwich shop here in the fourth ward. So Gideon pulls up right as he's coming in. There's a little parking around here, but right as he's coming in, someone's pulling out of a parking space right next to the door, and he pulls in right behind it and takes that spot. And so you guys are right at the front door.
I love the tea sandwiches here.
Okay, we're here. Everybody get out of my car and come with me inside, and I'll explain what's been going on.
Kit pulls the handle and runs into the door because it's still locked.
Sela slides out of the car, and she waits for Kit to get out. And when he does, he's
clutching the duffel bag.
You can make an opposed roll. She's going to try to take it from you.
Okay.
Just slip it onto her shoulder, a sleight of hand thing.
All right, that's going to be, I guess, fists versus his athletics.
Is it fists? She's standing right next to him. She just kind of bumps against him.
Yep, so fists to manage to do that.
Okay.
In the meantime, while they roll, I climb out of the car and I start trying to squeeze as much of this frog slime off of me so I don't bring it in with me.
So Sela got a 2 on her fists.
I have 5 on athletics.
Okay.
He just kind of pulls it back and cradles it.
But he's not looking at her. Can she invoke some of the aspects of the scene in the car? Like, he's not got his guard up. He has no reason to be so suspicious. You know, they've had a nice chat for the last 10 minutes. We're going to go in and have some sandwiches.
So he's following you. He's following along. He's amicable to it, but he's not letting go of the seat.
Okay.
So that's why he's got it clutched to his chest.
Even if you tag that aspect, you'd still be short of beating his roll.
Okay. Does he know she tried to take it, or it just was unsuccessful?
That one you could roll deceit for to see, because it could have just been he's just clutching it, paranoid a little bit. So.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happens, and she gets a 5 on that deceit roll.
Do I roll something?
You can roll empathy to try to read through her deceit.
Okay, I hope I lose. So that's a -3.
So you have no clue. That I understand -2 is terrible. They don't have a description for -3. It's so bad. There's just not even a description.
So Sela turns that situation to her advantage. She takes the opportunity to notice the Kit, you are very tense. You should relax. This is a nice place. You'll like the sandwiches, I'm sure.
If you say so.
Come on inside. It's so fun.
And so she opens the door. As you guys walk into the Midnight Oil, even though it's late, it's after midnight, this place is kind of packed at the moment. All the tables and chairs have almost every single table in the room has people crowded around it. And they're murmuring to each other. The room, when you walk in, there's a bar that runs lengthwise further in front of you, and it's got the counter space that everybody can come through and order their sandwiches and do the cash register deal and everything else. And then to your right, there's a lower level that has some couches and some tables and chairs, and everything is separated by bookshelves. Instead of like small wall partitions or anything else, they're bookshelves, and they're filled with books from end to end. The booths likewise have bookshelves past the seat, and above the seat there's bookshelves going up to the ceiling with books from end to end and also on the wall. The booths run along the far wall, and they go up to, there's a sort of a couple of stairs and a raised area of the same room that has more tables and chairs and more booths coming around to a square. And the restrooms are on the other side of the bar. Arlie McDougal, who Sela and Gideon will recognize as the owner of the Midnight Oil, is looking kind of tired and kind of tense, but he looks up as you guys enter and he nods, and he's kind of wiping down the counter.
Sela waves excitedly, happily at Arlie.
What type of books are all over the store?
If you want to go over and start looking at the books.
I would like to look at the books to see if there's anything that would actually interest my character. Yeah.
Can your character read?
I assume he's able to read at some level.
All right.
There could be picture books.
He has knowledge of lore, so.
All right. Roll scholarship.
Okay. Also a -3, so maybe he can't.
Maybe he can't read.
So Sela.
So you see several
But clearly
books.
pretends to read.
You see several books here on the bookshelf, but the ones that you pull off are like it's a Sudoku book, and then you find some kid's story book. And then you pull out another one, and it's Chaucer, but in the original, like, which is Middle English.
Yeah.
Middle English. It's in the original Middle English, and you're like, what the crap?
Can Sela make an empathy roll to get a read on Travis? Like, what kind of a book person does she think he is?
Apparently not a book person, but
You can. It will take you about 10 minutes of assessment, I think.
Well, I've been talking to him for 15.
All right. Make your roll.
That is not the best roll I've ever done. What is my empathy at? So, oh, my empathy is good enough. That's a +1.
All right, Travis, what's the genre of things that you think you enjoy reading?
well, like my experience and focus is pretty much on magic, and so I'm trying to see if there's anything that would relate to what my experiences have been in life. I don't read for fiction.
But, okay. So what
All right,
does Sela know about that?
Sela, roll investigation.
Oh my gosh. That's a really good roll. That's a +6. I rolled a 4.
All right, so Sela starts walking through, and she just starts grabbing some random books, and she gets Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and she gets what is the name of that? Yeah, and she gets what's the she gets like White. Is that the name of that series? The ones that have all the names are just colors. It's about magic, and all these other books that are about sort of magical type stuff, and then she brings them over to Travis.
Definitely picks up some Terry Pratchett.
Yes, Terry Pratchett.
World. Okay, and she kind of like just is palming them, just not letting it be really obvious that she's picking them up as she's walking through. And when we get to the booth, she just hands them all to Travis, like, ta-da!
Magic.
So are y'all just standing around, or Gideon, have you guided them to any particular place, and what place would that be? It's pretty crowded in here.
Well,
Are there any open seats at the bar?
There's my favorite booth back in the corner.
It's more of a the bar's more of a sort of like line/counter type thing where people walk by and order things. It's not an actual bar you sit at. There is a corner booth in the far back that's often a place where Gideon sits, and
Like, Sela's just steering the group there because that's her favorite table.
While we're walking back to the booth, I lean over to Gideon and tell him, if we get attacked by beastmen, I'm out of here.
I look back at you and say, "We're safe here. This is neutral ground." Now, Jared, we talked about having some help and people who could explain some things. I assume that I know who those people are, and that's the whole point of coming here was to talk to them.
the owner of this establishment, Arlie, is a great source of information about everything Ward's contract slash things going on in Houston, and particularly the Fourth Ward. He sees himself as the Thane of the Fourth Ward. He sees himself as the sort of shepherd of all the sheep that are in his ward.
Is there like a private area, a place for, I don't know, either VIPs or like a quiet set of tables somewhere where I can steer the group and then try to bring Arlie over?
My favorite back booth.
So yeah, her favorite the booths are more private, and particularly the rearmost corner booth is surrounded on almost four sides by books, and it's very secluded.
Okay, so I indicate to the group, kind of usher them that way, and say if they'll have a seat, we can dispense with some of this mystery and get down to why we're here.
When you get there, Sela's already sitting in the booth. And there are little SJs like all over the table from various times that she's sat here before.
And there's as you guys are walking through the establishment, you see like at one table there's a group of it looks like one guy's kind of dingy and he's got his pants hung too low, and so you just assume he must be a plumber. And he's sitting there with a couple of older guys and then one young guy with red hair, and they're playing 42. And there's also a gaggle of about 3 women that they're sitting in one of the booths you guys pass, and they all just kind of look at you guys as you pass by. There's a lot of strange looking people in here, and they're all packed in. It's pretty busy for pretty late at night, and they all look well. Make an empathy roll.
Who?
Everybody.
All of you.
Not my strongest.
I got you guys.
+1.
-1.
+5.
1.
All right. So Travis and Kit, you guys, Gideon doesn't notice it at all. He just walks in. He's going straight to his booth. Travis and Kit, you guys kind of notice that people are a little bit on edge, or they're like, it's got the feeling of like maybe a funeral a little bit, where everybody's kind of being subdued because they're trying to be, but at the same time, they're uncomfortable about something. Sela, you've picked up from the moment you walked into this room that something is wrong. Everyone here is really afraid.
Out, get out. Really.
And you can feel the fear in here, and you don't. But you also, as part of that, you feel that everyone's afraid, and they came here for safety.
Okay.
Start calming you down and remind you that this is neutral territory.
No. Gideon, no, it's bad. We need to talk to Arlie right now. Now.
I'll get him, and we'll get to it.
I'll get him. She just gracefully leaps over the bar to Arlie, right behind the counter. This isn't the first time she's done that.
Okay, roll report.
That is a... Oh, yeah. That's a 2.
All right, so Arlie receives you as you kind of jump over the bar. He's in his 50s or so. He's slightly balding. He's got pepper gray hair and some facial hair and a real friendly smile. And he says, "Hey, Sela, can I get you some tea or something to make you feel better?"
Yes, I'd like some cucumber sandwiches and some Earl Grey tea, and also you to join us at this table over here. I brought Gideon and some new friends. And
all right.
She looks around. Is everything okay?
He says, "Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. I'll fix up those sandwiches and I'll be over as soon as I can."
You know what? I'll fix up the sandwiches. Why don't you just go over?
He says, "No, that it's my shop and that's my job. You get to be my customer, and I love waiting on my customers. And plus, things are kind of a mess back there tonight. It's been real busy."
Mm-hmm. Sela just smiles, but she doesn't leave.
Oh, but she does, because he rolled good on. He rolled better rapport than you did.
Okay. If he's like pushing her out, then she'll leave. But
Yeah, he kind of scoots her right out around the counter, and you end up next to the restrooms in the back corner, and there's a couch, and there's it looks like a college age couple, and they're kind of cuddled up together on the couch, or maybe even huddled up together on the couch, and then the booths are there in front of you, and the rest of them, everybody's in on the other end of the corner, in your favorite booth.
okay, well, she goes to her favorite booth, and she's pretty paranoid. Can she make some kind of a roll, observation, or what is that?
Yeah, it would be probably alertness.
I mean, would that tell her anything she hasn't already noticed? Like, I guess she's looking for anybody that she recognizes or anything.
Most of the people you see here are people you've seen around the Fourth Ward. They're kind of familiar faces. If even if you don't know them, they're movers and shakers.
If she uses her alertness, can she use alertness to like catch snippets of conversation that might give her a better idea of what's going on?
Sure.
Okay.
In that case, actually use your investigation.
Even better. That's going to be a 3. Just as she's walking back to the booth.
So you don't get a lot because everybody's murmuring really quietly to each other, but you hear like the old lady saying, "Well, it's just not going to be safe out there tonight, and there's no way that we can go home if." And then you also hear one of the 42 players. He mutters, "No, I'm telling you, man, I can always feel it when there's a storm coming."
Okay.
Kit calls out, "Do they have any menus?" Hungry. Does this kidnapping come with dinner?
Sela goes back over and grabs a menu for Kit and like just appears with it. She bows, like makes the big waiter kind of opens it, and she's trying to make light of the situation because she feels the tension and she's trying to break it without. I mean, she's freaked out, but like since we've decided we're going to stay here and Gideon says it's okay, then she's pretending like it's okay. She's trying to act very natural.
Kit just huddles himself over his duffel bag to read the menu.
So there's all sorts of sandwiches on the menu, and then there on the back side there's a variety of teas offered.
But of course, without any money, I think everything on the menu would be a tease.
And then most of the sections or some of the particular sandwiches, they have various puns based off of like famous book titles and things like that.
Oh, I do like this place.
I told you would like it, the Kit.
Where are you from? That's a very interesting way to say my name.
The Kit? Kit
It's
is
just Kit.
a kit. A kit is a thing.
That's just also my name.
Or no.
No?
Like a baby fox.
I guarantee you it's my name.
Get the Kit. Get the Kit. That's what it is. Get the Kit. That's what Gideon said.
I said, well, you're not wrong.
So what were we doing here?
Sandwiches.
So about that time, Arlie comes up and he's made cucumber sandwiches for actually everybody at the table.
They're the best.
and he puts some tea out, and then he slides into the booth. Kind of how have y'all seated yourself in this? It's one of those booths that's a round table inside of kind of a corner. So for the most part, you're kind of trapped by table if you scoot in too far.
The Kit tried to sit on the edge and force everyone to go like semicircle around.
And then I pushed him in.
And then I followed.
And
on the other side.
And so I slid all the way around to the other side.
Yeah, then I followed.
Where Sela sat, and then Arlie sat down next to Sela. So they've got Kit.
So I'm stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right. And so Arlie sits down and he says, Gideon, Sela.
Hey,
And he
Arlie.
looks, who's your friends?
This is the Kit of the Roads, and this is Travis.
Who are you?
This is Arlie.
Arlie raises a friendly hand over to you, Travis. He says, "My name's Arlie McDougal. I'm the owner of this place. This is my shop, and you're very welcome here."
And Kit tucks in his elbows on top of the duffel bag and makes a very calculated extension of the hand. I'm Kit Rhodes. Do you know these people?
He says, "Yeah, they're residents of the Fourth Ward, and I try to stay familiar with everyone that's residents here." Gideon, what's going on?
That was my question.
Okay, so I let out a big sigh. Like I'm finally able to explain some things, and I look around the table, and especially at Arlie even, and I say, the Boglords are on the cusp of annulling the Ward's contract.
Is that why there's so many frogs? Did anybody else notice all the frogs?
I noticed the
Yes.
frogs. Some of them look like people.
I noticed the frogs.
She says that like around a sandwich. Like her mouth is full of 2 cucumber sandwiches at the same time. She's just inhaling them.
It's undoubtedly related. Is everybody here familiar with the Ward's contract?
Was that some kind of gang alliance?
No, Mr. Rhodes, it's not.
I don't know about any contract.
Okay.
People Gideon.
Well, I go on to explain that the city of Houston is kind of set up and divided territorially into different wards. Each kind of supernatural nation has their own set of part of the city with a ruler, and essentially we're all allowed to live here in Houston as so long as the contract is kept intact. But there's a stipulation that if the contract is ever breached, that all of the city would return to the control of the original inhabitants, which were a group of wild fae known as the Boglords. And I kind of go on to say that I have been seeing some signs in the future that the Boglords are going to be annulling the contract. The security seems to be under attack in some way, and that for some reason the four, well, I guess the 3 of you seated here are important to the continuation of the contract in some way.
How can the contract be breached? What's the sort of security is there?
Well, it's kind of like a big magical detente. All of the wards have a thane, and I nod towards Arlie.
Arlie nods back, and he kind of ducks his head a little bit too.
The thanes are responsible for ruling each of these wards, and controlling them. Each nation, you say, or each ward has a specific area that it's been given control over, and no Thane is allowed to intrude upon the territory of another Thane. And it seems as though, from what we've seen tonight, that that truce is kind of breaking down.
Arlie seems very troubled by that. He says, which you've seen evidence of a Thane moving against another one?
Maybe not directly, but there were definitely Black Court active in the... what ward were we in?
Third ward.
There were definitely Black Court active in the third ward. Third ward is Red Court territory, right?
Third ward is the Collector's territory.
Oh, okay. So the Black Court were definitely active in the third ward, and unless the Collector has made unless the third ward Thane has made a change recently that we're not aware of, that's probably not any of his doing.
Now might be a good time for Sela to mention that the reason she was at the museum was actually might have had something to do with the Black Court.
What's that, Sela? Arlie asks.
I just, sometimes I pick up jobs here and there.
Of course, you're a very skilled professional.
So,
did someone pay you to move against the Collector?
someone paid me to do what I do best, which is, fire things.
And at that moment, I remember something, and I look over at Kit Rhodes, and I say, "Speaking of which, it seems like two of you were, you and Sela were both after the same item here. Would you mind letting us examine it and see maybe if we can figure out what the big deal is?"
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around all of this. So, is this like the mafia that we're dealing with?
While he's talking, Sela wants to palm the seed out of the bag. Like, just not take the bag. He can keep the bag.
How generous.
It's her bag. Can she do it is the question.
Yeah, roll, in that case, you got to roll your burglary against Kit's alertness.
Is there a way I can see what's going on and try to help distract Kit on the other side?
She's waiting until he's distracted and thinking and talking, obviously. Like,
I started explaining to Kit that, it's a lot like the mafia. Then I'm just very...
And then you guys like playing Dungeons and Dragons? What's all this magical stuff you're talking about?
That's a +7.
Like you said, Mr. Rhodes, any technology sufficiently advanced might as well be considered magic. That's one way for you to think about it, if it helps you.
I have all kinds of magic you would enjoy, Kit Rhodes. She starts, like, with her other hand, juggling, like, she has 3 dice, and she's juggling the 3 dice, like, in one hand without really moving, just kind of, like, flicking them, her fingers, and, rolling them across the tops of her fingers and just doing little, like, street corner magic.
How'd your alertness test go?
6.
6?
It wasn't 7. It was
7.
6.
If I can, I'll distract. Hey, look over here, Kit. And I stick out my hand, and I have just a web of flames between my fingers as I'm showing him, showing him an example of magic while Sela tries
Wait,
to...
how are you doing that?
That's a neat trick.
And so as he kind of leans forward for that, Sela kind of whips the seed out and she puts it in the center of the table. And Kit notices immediately, but it's already kind of out of the bag. And so And Arlie says, "You were hired by whom to take this from the collector?"
That's mine.
It's
I
not
want that
yours.
back when we're done.
I was hired by and time out. It was Black Court, but I don't remember the exact what I know about that contract.
It's the steward. The steward is what you know him as.
Okay. I was hired by the steward to acquire this thing, like this afternoon. And he said there would be, or I guess it was this morning because I was there all day looking. And then there was a family that I was supposed to, a distraction that I knew about. He said he was going to plan that. Well, didn't say as much, but you know, the implication. And it didn't turn out at all like I expected it to. It was.
Yeah, there's some old lady who was moving really fast. I wasn't ready for that.
Sheila just smiles and doesn't say anything.
I roll my eyes.
And tries to look, you know, surprised. Oh.
Arlie asks Sela, how did it turn out with the family that was the distraction?
Well, they looked quite a bit worse for wear than they did in the photograph that I was given. Quite a bit. And they ate some people. And there were lions and lots of frogs.
Wait. The family ate some people?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What do you mean? What do you mean ate them?
I mean, and she thinks about how to describe those sounds, and then she decides maybe just not to describe those sounds. And she, out of character, she knows, like, were they normal Black Court vampires, or was this something else?
Yeah, roll lore.
Lore that's a 3.
Yeah, she knows what a Black Court vampire is, and she knows that they were one too.
Okay, yeah, I mean they were Black Court, and they ate people.
All right, Arlie sits back, and he seems
and they
really
were
troubled.
What people did they eat?
They were trying to eat Rosvides. And I think they may have eaten her bodyguard.
This is bad. This is troubling to hear, and it explains why everyone's on edge. I can't believe that the Black Court's on the move again.
And there was an army of toadmen and a whole bunch of little ones.
I also look at Arlie and I explain, or I say, I believe the Black Court also abducted one of these, one of their associates.
And Arlie kind of looks around. He's like, these two have associates.
We have associates?
In the loosest sense of the word.
Well, who got taken?
It wasn't the cat lady. I saw her.
Arlie kind of looks at you, Gideon.
I'm not sure I would have known her name. I guess I would have because I knew everybody else's name, right?
Yeah, you had gotten everybody's name.
Okay. A young woman named Caitlin.
Caitlin Rogers?
Yes.
No, she's fine. She left early before any of the weird stuff started happening.
You mean before you started taking drugs?
Yes, before Rose Feces and the Collector slipped me some drugs. I don't know why that's so hard for you to grasp. Like, you keep making me repeat myself.
Are you still using the drugs as I have my fire web again?
I want to know how you're doing that. Is it like a lighter in there?
Yes. And I show him my clearly very empty hand. Then my other hand, fire web. Then
Well, of course you would
fire
have
web
an
will
empty
clean the
hand. I'm sure that's a very expensive contraption you've got for. I didn't know you did street magic.
He's a homeless kid, and I do street magic.
Hey, the term is urchin.
You're right, I'm sorry. He's an urchin. And she winks across the table at Travis.
He smiles at that.
Arlie turns to Gideon and he says, when did Caitlin Rogers has been taken by the Black Court? Is that what I'm understanding you to say?
As far as I can tell.
No, she's fine.
Look over at Kit and I say, no, she's not fine.
Kit is very confused. The kid doesn't know what's going on.
Look, we can call her right now. He pulls out his phone, and he sees that text from Caitlin. Says she was leaving out the back, and then he dials the number.
All right. The phone rings. The phone rings. And the phone rings. And then
It's totally fine. She's not. She might not answer. She's kind of mad when she left.
hello.
Why ever would she be mad?
Oh, hello, Caitlin.
Who is this?
Who's this? How,
Keith Rhodes, is this you?
where's Caitlin?
You need to bring me my artifact back.
The collector. You have Caitlin? Will you stop at nothing?
If I do not get my artifact back, your Caitlin Rogers is in grave peril, and if it gets into the wrong hands, then there's no hope for her.
No hope for her? You would stoop that low. Of course you would.
What? Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm at the museum cleaning up your mess.
My mess. You're the one who laced all that druggy stuff, dangling this artifact in front of me. You knew I was going to take it. And now you took Caitlin. You bastard.
Fortunately, I have your compatriot, Miss Sage here, and between her, we were able to cover the story of the big cats that have escaped in the museum and ruined my party. But that's not going to be enough to stop what's going to happen.
She's speaking for you? Can't trust anyone. All right, you let Caitlin go, and I'll forget about this time. Otherwise, you're in big trouble.
No, it is you who are in big trouble if I do not get my artifact back. And it is your friend Caitlin who will be in even worse big trouble if that does not happen.
I think Kit hangs up at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you told him.
Gideon, what is this thing?
So the collector took Caitlin. He has her at the museum.
No, all you know is that the collector has Caitlin's phone. Sheila points out.
Okay. But Caitlin had that phone earlier, so
Yes, that's why it's Caitlin's
I
phone.
assume
The kid seems to lose things often, and she looks pointedly at the table with the seed artifact on it. Do you think that your friend Caitlin doesn't occasionally misplace things as well?
she sent me a text that said she was fine or leaving out the back door.
Well, she clearly put her phone down somewhere because she doesn't have it now.
It would be like the collector to lie like that.
Arlie kind of looks at Gideon. He says, Gideon, who has Caitlin, or how? Why did you think it was the Black Court?
That's a good question.
Where did you guys come from? Gideon and Travis, I was very surprised to see you there. I was going to leave the museum and run straight to your place, Gideon, but you just pulled up outside, and it was really lucky. But I didn't think about. I mean, you know how you are. You just pop up whenever I think of you sometimes. But why and where were you? Why didn't you get there earlier?
I look across the table pointedly at Travis.
What?
I
I didn't
say,
do anything. Some random guy shows up. I have a job interview working for Ricky, and he's
Wait,
like,
what?
"Hey, I need help." And then this random guy shows up and says, "You need to come with me now."
Yes, that's right.
I kind of agree with Travis on this one because that's kind of what happened to me too.
Okay, but
I've spent a lot of time in the woods, but even I know about stranger danger.
Except you were having a conversation with a red cord vampire.
Working
for
for Ricky?
vampire who he and I we came to terms. We're friends, man.
You understand he eats people, and you're people.
Yeah, but he's not going to eat me. He needs me.
Sela sniffs the air, and underneath the toad spit, does she smell bacon?
Pork chops, I imagine.
Yes, there is definitely the savory scent of bacon just oozing off of Travis at this point.
Travis, why do you smell like barbecue?
Well, shortly after Gideon here interrupted my job interview, the club got attacked, and
It was really more of a simultaneous thing.
okay. Regardless, the club got attacked, and there were a lot of people in danger. So,
Attacked by what?
Well, let's see. There was a whole herd of hogs. I cleaned them out pretty quickly.
You mean like Hell's Angels?
And what was
No,
that?
like actual pigs.
Actual pigs? Who fights with actual pigs?
Pigs
Just
do.
try to keep up.
And then after them, there was a giant pig, but I think Lalo got that one, or it got him. I wasn't really paying attention.
Kit, your
And-
phone suddenly starts buzzing in your hand. Zzz, zzz, zzz,
Oh,
zzz.
he's been texting Caitlin's phone, by the way.
He's been texting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caitlin's
He's been-
phone rings. Is calling him back.
He silences it and continues texting to Caitlin's phone. He's trying to work out details of a drop.
Of a drop. What does he text? What is he texting?
So he's texting things like, "How do you want to make the exchange? Come alone."
You get a reply back, and it says, all caps, accorded neutral grounds, 2 hours.
What's that? Where's that address, please?
And then you get a reply that says, you need to save your friend. It's again, all caps.
Can I make an alertness roll to see if I notice what's going on with Kit?
I think at this point, Kid's just going to kind of ask out loud, maybe muttering, maybe it's to the group of just like, "What's a corded neutral ground?
I look at Kit.
Is that a club?"
I reach across the table and grab the phone, start going through the text messages, and my face gets darker and darker and darker the further down the text messaging I go.
As you're holding it, Gideon, another text comes through, and it's the same text. It's all caps. You need to save your friend.
And then Kit kind of reassuringly is like, "I'm not giving him the artifact. I made these bait and switches all the time. I just need to know where Caitlin is."
And how often does that work for you? All the time?
It's
I look
worked
up at
before.
I look up at Kit and give him a look that just says, "I think he's probably about the dumbest person I've ever met." You know, like wouldn't even recognize something if he stepped on it. And I called the number that he's been texting. I tried to have a conversation with whoever this is.
Kit, you idiot. I am tired of your nonsense. You need to save your friend. Now.
This isn't Kit. You're right that he's an idiot. And
Hey,
who are we trying to save? Are you the one that? You're the one that's taking Caitlin.
I just said that.
No, who is this? Who is this?
It's not who I am isn't important right now.
I have a very particular set of skills. It says menacingly from the corner of the booth that he's stuck in.
On the other end of the line, you hear Sarah Rosevides. She replies, "No, actually, you are correct. It is not important who you are. What is important is you guys must find Caitlin and you must save her."
I agree. Let me know where she is, and I'll come save her.
That's what I was doing.
And she says, I have to finish up here. I have to explain to the police what has been happening at my museum. But once I've got this squared away, I can meet you at accorded neutral grounds.
Okay. In 2 hours?
I think I can have these guys cleared out in a couple of hours. Fortunately, there's the obvious. What obviously took place here was some escaped lions from the zoo ravaged my guests.
Better come alone, Kit calls out.
Sela just like elbows him in the side, like in
I
the room.
clear it, Kit. Say, okay, accorded neutral grounds, 2 hours. We'll come to talk and maybe try to work out a deal.
Okay, you must bring my seed artifact. You cannot lose it.
What is this? What is a seed artifact?
How does everybody at the table react?
Are we on speakerphone?
You can't have it.
Well, he just said out loud, "What is the seed artifact?" And at least two people know what the seed artifact is.
It's bad news. We can't give this thing to anyone. We need to get rid of it.
We're not giving it to anyone.
She like puts her hands over their mouths like as they're talking. And if she has to dive over the table to do this, she will. She'll also use her feet if she can't reach. Like none of that.
Rosevides replies to Gideon. She says, "Kit has it. I saw him take it out of the museum along with that with that professional thief that works in this area."
Okay, I'll ask him about it, and we'll have an answer for you.
All right, 2 hours.
2
According
hours.
to neutral grounds.
Okay.
She hangs up the phone.
All right.
Look, I don't know what you're playing at here, but this is just your standard kidnapping. It's really easy. We make sure we don't take my artifact anywhere where the collector can get his hands on it. I'll get Caitlin out as soon as they bring her, as long as she comes alone.
And what if
Simple extraction.
What about when she doesn't come alone?
Mr. Rhodes.
You have to get somewhere where you can overlook the area. So I guess we need to head to these neutral grounds early. But
Mr. Rhodes, we're already at the neutral grounds.
what? I thought you said we were at the Midnight Oil.
Oh, I get it. Coffee grounds.
Ah, yeah. Listen, why don't you just sit there and try not to hurt yourself?
What are you talking about?
While you guys are asking what to talk about, Arlie kind of he's like sort of smiling at the rest of y'all, but he points over to the door that you guys walked in at the entrance. It's all the way cornered across the restaurant. So you look out over the tables and chairs, and you see all the people kind of huddled over that, and then there's a lower area, and then there's the entrance way of the door, and there's this big plaque over the top of the door facing on the inside, and it says on it, it's one of those sort of like trophy type plaques where it's got the nice dark wood and then the kind of burnished goldish bronze, and then etched into that it says accorded neutral grounds.
It's really confusing to have two names for your brand, but whatever.
Sela, while they're talking and thinking, Like she's heard enough on the phone conversation, so she just kind of, for paranoia's sake, throws little seeming. Can I do this? Can I throw a seeming over the seed on the table that doesn't affect the people sitting at the table, only the people who are not at the table?
Yeah, you could have effectively what you would be doing, because there's just a short, just a small area of space that people can look in. You'd put the seaming over that to where the people looking in wouldn't see.
Okay, yeah. So I have the seaming where everything looks normal, like it does, except there's it's not a seed artifact. It's it's like a vase or something. It is a cobalt blue vase filled with daisies. There's 7 of them. It's very pretty.
Roll your deceit.
That way, if people are gesturing at it, like that's a 6.
All right. So Arlie says Arlie turns to Gideon. He says, if the Black Court are moving on the ward system, then I need to go do some research and preparation. And he gets up and he excuses himself.
So now that I know what the name of this artifact is, can I roll a lore check to see if I know anything else about it, like why it's important or?
Sure. You can even examine it here at the table and everything else. So go ahead and roll lore.
Okay. +6.
You got +6 on your roll. Nice.
Well, total, yeah.
All right. So it has the description that I gave earlier. It's kind of teardrop shape, holes on either end. What you do is, as you kind of look at it, Gideon, you notice 2 things from examining it. One, you kind of figure out that this artifact is like a magnifying glass, and it operates in the same way, only with magical energy. So it magnifies the energy that's being output into it. You also notice that you look at it and you see this thing with this landscape with the people in the field raising up their hands and whatnot to the sky. But your examination, you kind of turn it over and you realize that's looking at it upside down. Actually, what it is it's a ceiling with ropes around people's legs, and they're hanging from it, and all of their blood's dripping down into a sea of blood beneath them. And that's the actually what's depicted on this artifact.
Told you it was bad news.
Look, if this is where the drop's going down, we need to get this out of here. I can take it, and Kit tries to shove it in his duffel bag.
No.
I'll take it someplace safe, and we can come back and arrange our ambush.
No.
Caitlin's safe.
I look at him like I look at Kit like he's an idiot, and I say, "This is a corded neutral territory or corded neutral ground. There's not going to be an ambush here."
So
You guys don't do ambushes in coffee shops?
Doesn't everybody?
while they're having this argument, like this conversation, Hilo wants to make a swap.
Gideon's currently holding it.
Oh, okay. As soon as he's not, or actually, while he is, like whenever he's done looking at it, she's gonna touch it and make the swap. And I'm gonna just, is there like a nonverbal social role she can make with Gideon because they're really good friends to kind of like, hey, don't fight me on this? Like he kind of knows what she's doing?
Oh, I'd probably try to pass it off to you. You're the only person at the table that I don't think is an idiot.
Okay,
so make your deceit roll. Kit, you can roll alertness against it to see whether you notice that that she's like signaling.
That's a 7.
Can I roll alertness too to see? Because I would definitely be paying attention to that.
Yeah, roll alertness, see if you notice.
+2.
I got a 5.
She got a 7, and she's pretending like she's looking at it, like, he's talking about, oh, see the ropes, and she leans in and she's like, oh, wait, you mean right there? So she has an excuse to kind of be touching it, and she's gonna swap it with a smaller object, but it's gonna look like the seed artifact still. So he's gonna hold something
So what happens with the tie, by the way?
that everybody else looks like.
You would notice with the tie that you notice something funky is going on.
All right. So I would like to spend a fate point to notice something funky, get up to a 7. And I think Kit is a little bit paranoid because this thing was pulled out of his bag without him noticing, and it was suddenly on the table. So he's keeping a close eye on it.
But right now you're talking about accorded neutral grounds, and
Which I assume is a coffee shop.
looking towards the brand and talking about that. And, are you sure you guys don't do ambushes? I mean, you're planning the rescue of your friend. Are you feeling that alert?
Yeah. Alertness is good for Kit.
So, what you notice, Kit, is you're not quite sure what she's done, but something hinky's going on. She's pulling some sort of con.
Okay.
With the exchange that she just did with Gideon. So you're a lot more. You're keeping a more level eye on her and trying to see what it is that she's going to do next. And you're certainly aware that you wouldn't want to let her get out of your sight at this point because she might be, or let her. You'd be especially wary of whatever her intentions are at the moment when it comes to that artifact.
Sounds good.
So Gideon.
But I assume the swap is good.
Yeah, they did swap it.
Yeah.
But you're kind of aware that something hinky's going on.
But he doesn't know that she has it. It still looks like Gideon has it, right?
It looks like she had it and then she gave it back to Gideon, but he's not sure. He's wondering whether or not he knows there's been like he feels like there might be something funny going on with that. Like maybe you just did some sort of swap.
It hasn't been pierced. He didn't see what happened. He just knows something's weird.
He sees Gideon holding it, but something seems off about it. It's like, it's not like it's not in the right color, or something. It feels like something's weird about this object you swapped.
Okay.
And Kit's just holding out the duffel bag, expecting that to go right back in there.
All right, Gideon. So you examined this thing and you determined that extra information that it's a magnifying artifact, and that and also the pictures on it are a lot more grotesque and less beneficial from a fertility aspect than was apparent at first.
Now, did I recognize Sarah Rosevides at all?
I was actually going to ask you before this session what sort of working relationship you might have with Rosevides.
Is she one of the collector's people, or is she a Black Core vampire?
She's one of the collector's people. She's been sort of the face for the collector in his representative in his ward for the last 20 years or so.
I would know who she is.
Of the third ward, yeah.
Yeah, I would know who she is.
The collector's the Thane, Sela.
Well,
and
right.
Rosevides is the person that the collector is basically the collector's emissary.
So I look at Sela and I ask her again who was having her steal this artifact from the collector.
And she tells him whatever name it was that she doesn't remember, the steward of the 6th ward.
That's correct. The steward, Gideon, and the steward's been the one who has been similar to the way that that Rosvades is the representative of the Thane of the Third Ward. The steward has been the person who's been overseeing the Sixth Ward ever since the actual Thane of the Sixth Ward disappeared back at the end of at the beginning of the last century.
Right. That's Black Court, right? Sixth Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
The steward himself is a Black Court vampire.
Well, I look at Sela and I say, I know you were probably paid a lot to do this for the steward, but this is probably the last thing we want any resident of the Sixth Ward to have their hands on.
No one should have their hands on it. It's mine.
It's
Not
decidedly
yours.
not yours. And so I reach into my coat pocket and I pull out a full bag of Skittles and I slide it across the table to Sela and I say, do you think that if you had these that you could forget your contract with the steward?
What contract?
Smile. So that's one problem. Now we need to. Now I look at Kit and I ask him, tell me everything you know about the collector.
Let's see.
Sela slowly and reverently slides her hand over the bag of Skittles and like pulls them back just super slow while Kit is thinking and talking and just like.
So I think Kit kind of just answers curtly in the sense of he's bad news. And I think we should be more focused on getting Caitlin out of his clutches. We got a couple hours to come up with a plan to rescue. What are we going to do?
If he's as bad news as you say, we cannot give this to him. You guys haven't seen this.
No one's giving my artifact away. This is your typical extraction. Any kidnapping goes this route where you make a false exchange and you get the person back that you need.
That's how you get pieces of the person back.
It's not how I don't get pieces back.
You ever get anything back, Kit?
Yes, I've gotten people back before.
What people?
Oh, well, there was the Amir's daughter. There was that weird guy who was the guide out in, I think it was Africa. And then there was that time out in Russia. But it doesn't matter. What you guys need to know is that it seems that I'm the only one here who has any experience or knowledge of how to deal with kidnappings. You guys are the worst kidnappers who have ever kidnapped. And it's been a fun ride, but either you're going to help me or you're not. So what's the plan?
I think you're on drugs.
He has a point. For a man dipped in whatever it is, psychopathic or what's that hallucinogenic toad spit, he has a pretty good point.
Mr. Rhodes,
Well, you know,
as much as I would
been telling
love-
you guys all night that he's been on drugs, so
Yeah.
he's glad that you guys are finally on board.
Mr. Rhodes, as much as I would love to let you go on about your way, and believe me, I would really love to let you go on about your way. For some reason, you become central to the events that are going on, and you were not leading on your own again. That's precisely why we're in this mess. Because.
So what's your plan? The only thing that's going to make me stay here right now is to know what you guys are doing to get Kaylin out of the collector's clutches.
Well, clearly, they're coming here. Like, I don't understand why you want to leave. They said that they would meet you in this place.
Exactly. They're coming for the artifact. That artifact cannot be here. That but I'm not letting it out of my sight. So I'm leaving with the artifact, and I will come back and help deal with Caitlin's kidnappers.
Mr. Rose, the collector didn't take Caitlin. The Black Court took Caitlin. We are going to have a conversation with the collector. I did not promise to deliver the artifact to them, and I have no intention of doing so.
Wait, so a different mafia gang, whatever, has Caitlin?
Yes. Sure.
Okay, where are they?
We don't.
We
Somewhere else. We
Collector's extremely
generally
treacherous. If he doesn't have her, then we need to be dealing with the people who do.
the collector has information that we need. And
the collector only makes you think he has information that you need. He always twists it around, and he always makes it about something else, and he gets what he wants, and he leaves you without what you want.
Gideon, how important did you say the Kit's Road was? I mean, we could definitely let him know where Caitlin is being held, or give a good idea. If he's feeling like being a snack.
I rolled a -2.
6.
I look at Sela and I say, if there was any timeline in which we could get rid of this guy, believe me, I would take it.
Look, if you guys aren't going to be helped, and he starts elbowing his way out of the booth.
Travis and Sela, what are y'all's alertness?
Everyone?
Yep.
Three.
-2.
Okay, so Gideon and Travis are wrapped up in the conversation, and they don't notice. But the other two notice that the door of the establishment sort of shudders a little bit, and they also notice that everybody in the whole restaurant suddenly are looking at the door.
Guys.
Kicks Gideon from under the table.
Guys.
Like, hey.
Oh, what?
It's a trap. Look, you told them where we were, and now they're here.
And then the door bangs open. It swings all the way to the edges of its hinges, like it was kicked in. And a very large man, very tall, barrel-chested, thick-limbed, kind of ducks a little bit, and he steps in, and he looks around, and he says, "All of you are doomed."
Kit grabs the seed and puts it in a duffel bag.
That's my duffel bag.
This is important. Which seed did you grab?
Oh, he doesn't know where the other one is. He's just grabbing the one out of Gideon's.
The one out of Gideon's hands. All right. It feels hinky to you. You think something's odd going on. Arlie is behind the counter. He looks back at this newcomer and he says, "What can I do for you, friend?" And he says, "You all can stay here until we have reclaimed every inch of this land, or you can come out and be massacred. Either is okay with me."
I think there was some lag on that one. Would you mind saying his declaration again?
Travis says.
He says, "You can stay here until we've reclaimed every inch of this land again, or you can come out and be massacred. Either is okay with me."
Come out to curd.
Massacred.
Do I recognize this one at all?
Give me a lore check.
Yeah, do I see what this thing is either?
+1.
Give me what's your lore, Chris?
My lore is at 2. You want me to roll?
Yeah, roll it.
Oh heck, I'll roll 2 if we're all doing it.
Nope.
I have a +3 to the roll.
Oh, I have a I have a +2. I beat Gideon's lore roll.
I rolled a -3 on the dice.
I've got
Gideon,
3
you don't know who this person. Gideon, you don't know who this person is on by sight. Sela, you don't recognize him, although there's something that seems kind of familiar about him. Travis, you are fairly certain that this is some sort of fae under a seeming. But Arlie seems to know who he is, and he says, "Really, Peter, you have no authority here. This is my area, and this is my ward, and I intend to hold it according to the contract, as I always do." And the man that Arlie just called Peter replies. He says, "The contract is to be annulled. You know as well as I that there are certain provisions that must be met, and these provisions are being failed. There has been a vacancy in 2 of the Thane's seats for over 3 generations, in the 6th ward and in the 1st ward. And as such, the contract shall be annulled in 2 days' time, and it is my job to clear everything out so that we can be prepared for the reclaiming of our land."
Kid's looking for the exit.
Peter continues. He says, "Now, I would just finish you here and now, but of course," and he glances back up, "there are some agreements that overrule ours here in this land. But outside of these walls, all of you will be taken care of quickly. So stay here and live in fear under the protection of this dingy place for the rest of your miserable lives, or come out and I will put an end to them." And he looks around and he looks around the room, and then you guys notice that as he's kind of scanning the room at everybody, he sort of stops. He looks past you guys, and then he whips his head back, and it's like he notices the 4 of y'all in that back booth. Brow, and he gives you guys the most intense look of smoldering hatred that you have seen all night. He says, "And you 4, stop messing with my business. Stay out of it and stay here. You heard me? No more of your shenanigans." And he turns and he walks out.
Did you just say shenanigans?
He did. Shenanigans. I like shenanigans.
Did he identify who he
Black
was
Lord
talking to?
Mafia? Has he got Caitlin?
Yeah, he's talking to the 4 of us.
Yeah, like, was there not someone in particular, though?
No.
Do you guys know who that was?
Seemed like he was
What
talking
that
to
was?
Kit to me.
Well, from the way he was talking, I assume he was a representative of the owners of the land, who were the Bog Lords. So that's great.
Actually, you know from Arlie saying the name Peter, you're pretty certain that must be Peter Harbog, who is the Thane of the 5th Ward and the representative of the Bog Lords.
There you go.
Guys, I don't know what you know about this guy, but I've got a feeling something really, really bad's going to happen. We
Have to go get Caitlin. Let's go.
We probably really don't want to go along with whatever his plan is.
I also vote to leave.
I look around like I hadn't just explained the whole problem. Like the Bog, I say, okay, so apparently things are moving a little faster than I had foreseen. The contract he's talking about being annulled is the ward's contract, which is exactly what we were hoping wouldn't be annulled. And this is exactly what we're trying to avoid. So,
Wait, why would he be interested? Because the shenanigans must have to do with Kit's artifact. And she glares at Kit and the bag. Why would he want this thing?
He's probably working for the collector too.
Good job putting that together for him right there. You just offered it up on a silver platter, you know.
I'd like to turn at him and give him just a look of incredulity, because we live in a binary world. Everyone either works for the collector or works for the
is Kit.
That seems to be the only choice.
Currently. He's certainly not getting any help.
The rest of the room, everybody, all the people in the building have definitely reacted in a lot of panic and surprise and consternation at this. And Arlie's been running around trying to keep people calm, but he comes up to the table and that you guys are at, and he says, "What the heck was he talking about, you guys and shenanigans?"
Did he not see the thing?
Yeah, I thought we. I explained to him what happened tonight.
We shouldn't tell him we have this thing. Like, don't.
No, not the thing, but that we were at the gala, or that a couple of them were at the gala in the museum, and the Red Court attacked, and then of course the Boglord showed up, and I'm pretty sure that's also who showed up at the Red Spot, or no, what was the
Red Door?
The Red Door.
And Arlie says, that makes sense. I'm telling y'all what I've told everyone else. Y'all are safe here. This is accorded neutral grounds, and the ward's contract does not supersede the Sealy Accords. So we can stay here, and we'll be protected from the Boglords, at least in any of their direct hostile actions. And I'm going to be staying open all night long just to make sure that we're here till sunrise.
Well, look, Caitlin's not here. It doesn't matter how safe we are tucked away in here. We've got to do something. Or at least I am. Kit continues to try and push his way out of the thing. Look, gang warfare is nothing to... I don't know what experience you guys have, but it's not something that you want anyone that you care about to be caught in the middle of.
Taylor grabs her duffel bag. Fine, you can leave, but give me back my bag.
He's not letting go of the bag.
It's my bag.
It has my artifact in it. You can have it back later, or you can come help.
Okay. Mr. Rhodes, where are you going?
I have to go hide the artifact, and then we've got to make it to wherever the Black Court gang people hang out.
Again, I look at him like he's just...
Sela just smiles, and she's like, yeah, Gideon, we just got to go to where the Black Court gang people hang out. You know.
They have my friend. I'm going there. Are you coming? And now he's shoving with like two hands in the duffel bag. He's getting out. He's going to work on getting out of that booth.
Which way are you shoving, me or Travis?
I'm going away from Travis, so I'm shoving you.
Mr. Rhodes, you don't have any clue how dangerous the people you are.
You guys don't seem to have any clue of how much danger Caitlin's in.
I know exactly how much danger Caitlin's in, and I'm telling you.
Let's go help her. Can I roll presence or something? Get some help here from everyone who's not wanting to help.
Sure, you can roll presence, but I don't think it applies in convincing people to help. It's more in guiding people how to help, which is kind of what we're at because they all want to help.
We're gonna need a more specific plan from the kit in order to go along with this. As he's shoving her like against her with this bag, can she like do one of those fake him out and then take the bag?
You'll have to do that. That'll have to be an contested athletics roll to take the bag from him.
Contested athletics? Can she modify that with deceit? Like she's going to act like she is pushing against him and struggling with the bag, and then all of a sudden she's going to give way and roll like back and to the side, and so he'll stumble forward, and in that movement she'll take the bag, like just kind of one big nice roll around him.
He got a 3.
Not in this instance. Just roll athletics.
Not fair. No, it's like probably not. It's a 1 unless she can tag something or use a modification.
So she goes to do that little fake out thing, and right at that moment, he jerks the bag and actually jerks it out of her hands.
Does he hit Travis behind him? Because we're in this booth.
No, he kind of stumbles out of the booth altogether.
Okay.
It is a cool roll over the table.
As cool as a roll out of a circle booth can be.
Right.
He comes up on his feet with the duffel on his shoulder.
I can't.
You guys coming or what?
That's more of a flop than a roll.
Going where? What is your plan?
To get Caitlin back.
Okay. So
He starts walking towards the door.
As he's doing it, I lean over to Gideon and say, if he's as important as you seem to think he is, I think we probably need to do something about Caitlin, or they're both going to be Black Court food.
I agree, Travis. But the thing to do is not to go run off half cocked into the 6th ward. We will all be Black Court food.
Fair enough. What's your plan?
Sela wants to incapacitate Kit temporarily. What are her options? Sela
Depends on how you want to incapacitate him, I suppose.
Sela runs like Kit is arguing, he's striding off. Sela gets the attention of Arlie and like whispers like he's gonna go get himself killed right now. We have to stop him. Like, can Arlie stop him from leaving?
Sure. Give me a.
It's Arlie's place.
Yeah. Give me a.
And he has my bag.
Give me a rapport roll.
Gideon thinks he's important. That's what is my report again? What did he say so long? +2. Can't seem to make a good roll on that.
All right, Kit. Roll athletics.
It's a 3.
All right. As you're sort of starting to walk past Arlie kind of puts a fist up and kind of like touches you in the chest suddenly. And it startles you and pauses you for a second. Roll athletics again.
That one's a 6.
All right. And then Arlie takes you. He uses that sudden pause that you've got, and his fists whip around, and he grabs you and turns you and kind of puts you next to this bookshelf, and and he's got you wedged against the bookshelf, and he says, "Hold on just a second. Did you not hear what Peter Harbog just said? There is a lot of dangerous. There's danger if you go out there right now. We need to stay.
I know there's danger out there. My friend's in danger. Let me go."
At this point, I get up and I walk over to Kit and I say, "Listen, we're going to get Caitlin back, but you need to do this the right way, or you're both going to die."
What's the right way? It doesn't seem like you guys are very interested in acting.
Think first, then act.
You know, something exciting.
I thought about it. It's get her back.
Mr. Rhodes, you can't just walk into the place where they have her.
I'm not going to walk in there.
What are you going to do? I'd love to hear it.
You're going to run it, right?
You don't go running through the front door for an extraction. You find the location, you sneak in, you save the person, you get out.
I've seen you sneak.
Is that what they call it?
That's what he tries to call it.
Look, guys, there's no additional information here, and Caitlin's in danger. Are we going to just sit here and talk about it, or are we going to do something about it?
Well, talking about it might come up with a plan first.
What's your plan?
What's your plan? Where are you planning to hide the bag?
Kit kind of looks at his twisted arm, and he's like, why should I tell you?
Because it can be twisted more. Because if you want our help, you have to cooperate with us.
Okay, let me leave.
Where are you going?
To save Caitlin.
Okay, but you just
Go.
said
Not a secret.
Off you go.
All right. Arlie lets you go.
So I guess Kit is leaving. He's gonna has the door got windows in it, or what's the closest window to the door?
Yeah, there's some windows along the front wall. Yeah. And there's the door themselves. The door itself doesn't really have windows.
Okay. Whatever the closest one is to the door, he's taking a peek out.
All right. Roll investigation or alertness.
That's going to be a 6.
All right. You totally. You,
And it was alertness, not investigation. Sorry.
It was alertness. Okay. There's kind of there's a set of bushes, kind of that are running along the outside of the front, along the wall, exterior wall there, and you totally you see the upper you catch a glimpse of multiple entities that are kind of like huddled right behind the bushes, and they're kind of like moving along towards the door. It looks like they're trying to sneak. You don't get a really good look at what they are, but you notice that there's several, as in like half a dozen.
He turns and glares at everyone else and starts heading for the back door.
Roll investigation.
That's 3.
Okay, so you turn and you look, and there's another door right there next to the front door that you think leads back into the kitchen. You head into that. And once you get inside the kitchen, you think you see another door at the other end that would probably be exit along the side wall. There's no windows. There's no windows here.
So he cracks it open and takes a look out.
All right. Give me alertness.
I just, as he's moving around, I kind of keep pace, a little bit old, where I can see him, and I sort of gesture to Travis, like, this idiot's going to get himself killed. Would you be ready?
You ready for what? Just tell me what to do.
What was the result of your alertness roll, Andrew?
A 5.
All right, so you kind of crack the door open, you look around, and this is a little kind of alleyway. There's a trash can, a dumpster that you can see outside through the crack in the door. There's several areas of shadow, and then lights that are coming off the wall that are illuminating brightly other areas. You don't see anything in particular here. And so you open the door a little more, and you kind of gingerly step a foot out. And it's this little slow-mo thing where you're like slowly leaning the foot and letting it rest slightly. And the moment that foot touches the ground, there's this little audible twang. And then out of nowhere, a foot ahead of you, missing you, but just like right there in front of you, a giant anvil drops and smacks into the pavement. And that's where we'll end for tonight.
So we're being attacked by like the Warner Brother cartoons.
Wile E. Coyote specifically, it would seem. Awesome.
The reality of the situation hits you like a ton of bricks.
No, that's coming around the corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop the stream on that one, man.